Hello everyone, it's the 13th of November 2021. I just finished filming a video on our carrot harvest. As you can see, I broke a few. You'll see that in the video. It's not a big deal. Kind of a bummer though, look at that, it's a monster. So I'll just dig the other half out, clean them up. We'll use those tonight for dinner. But I wanted to make a video just on your late fall crops. What can grow this time of year? So we're in western New York, south of Buffalo, about 40 minutes south. We're in the hills, so we have some elevation. So we're about 1,300 feet-ish where we are here, little over. And so basically what that means is it gets colder here quicker than it did when we lived in Buffalo. In our porch garden, our apartment where we had our porch garden, you could go a lot earlier, start a lot earlier, go a lot later with certain things. But there are still a lot of crops that can grow, even here where we're zone 5. And it gets cold early. You know, I mean, Buffalo's famous for snow and cold, although that's more where we are, more so than where Buffalo actually is, which is north of here. But I want to show you, so this is our garden. It's just sort of gone to its own devices. I haven't done much of anything out here in the last couple months. Just been busy with work, and it's November, you know, so there's only so much. But there are some things, as you look around here, you can see, okay, peppers, not so much. They're pretty much toast. They've frozen many times. But there are some things, like these carrots that I just harvested today, that grow really well in the cold, not in the winter, but in the cold season. One of those things, as we walk around here, is your cooking greens. Now, as you can see here, we've had a lot of bunnies getting in here. Like this deer netting that I made a video on, by the end of the season it just gets destroyed. That's the thing about it, it's very lightweight, so it's more like a lightweight screen and it's prone to tearing, and the bunnies get in. You can see they've done a number on our collard greens, but the collard greens are still going. I mean, these will grow all the way through until it really freezes. So sometimes January you're still picking them, and they're good. This time of year they're delicious. They're really sweet, tender, really nice. Swiss chard too. Again, the bunny's been getting in here and doing some damage, but look at the Swiss chard. It's gorgeous. Really, now we also have harvested this a lot. We had this a few times recently for dinner, so it'll grow a lot more slowly this time of year. So what'll happen is when you harvest it, it won't really regenerate as much as it will in the warmer season. But look, it's still beautiful. And we've had some hard freezes here over the last couple weeks. Here's some more Swiss chard. Here's the pink, really pretty. And that's really good food right there. So still really nice. We might get maybe another dinner out of it before, because like I said, now when you harvest it, it doesn't really grow back as quickly as it used to. Although you can see it is still putting out new leaves, even in November. Some other things that grow, kind of a recurring theme, your cooking greens, kale. Kale is like impenetrable. Look at this blue kale. This stuff is really good too. Super good for you, super nutritious. This time of year, it is amazing. Really nice, rich flavor. No bitterness. In the summer, it can get really bitter with the heat, but in the winter, this stuff just gets really pretty. And I've picked this in January around here before, and it's just growing and growing. This stuff is really cold hardy. So your kale, now is when you want to eat it. In the summer, the stuff's almost inedible. It's so bitter, but now it's really good. Nice in soups, lasagnas, pasta bakes, mashed potatoes, and kale. I'll tell you, I saw a YouTube video on, I forget what, it might have been bacon or something, when I was learning how to do that. And the person made kale mashed potatoes as a side. We tried it. It's a revelation, let me tell you. It's just a way to work more greens into your dishes, and kale is so nutritious and absolutely incredible in mashed potatoes. So good. So yeah, that's one that's a great fall crop. Now you plant that in the summer, let it grow, and then it matures in the fall. You don't want to plant it now or it won't do anything. So this is one where this has been growing all year, and now it's finally looking healthy because it likes the cold. Look at these collard greens. Look at that. The bunny has a harder time getting the ones in a container. These are in containers here. Got some of it, but that's good. These didn't do so well this year. This is a different kind of collard green and the slugs just beat it up. But look at all the new growth. Super healthy. Slugs aren't as much of an issue now that it's colder. Really nice. So your cooking greens, you're still going to be able to get some nice harvest, especially if you have kale and collard greens. Chard is a little less cold hardy than the others, but still, look, all sorts of new growth here. Really nice. That's good food right there. So you can go out to your garden, and like I said, we're in southwestern New York, where we're zone 5 and not by a whole lot where we are because of our elevation. Our porch garden in Buffalo, we were zone 6 there. Some of this stuff could go all year almost there just because it was just warm enough, but here we are. If we're able to do this, then almost anyone watching this video is going to be able to do the same thing. Because we get pretty cold here, but that's really pretty and that's good food. So you come out in November and you can harvest all kinds of things from your garden still. So the garden season doesn't end in August. You can really push it all the way through. Now these things conversely will also grow in the spring well. The trouble is, like I mentioned, is this kale, you need it established already so that it can flourish now. If you want spring kale, the trouble there around here anyway is it'll go from winter to 85 degrees in like 2 days. That's what we don't really get in normal spring. So you'd have to start this inside, get it to a decent size, and then put it outside to mature in the spring. It's a lot harder to do it in the spring than it is in the fall. Because in the summer it'll germinate, it'll start growing, and then in the fall it'll just mature like this and get really nice and stay all winter for you. This can freeze solid and it'll still just thaw out and grow when it gets warmer. One year we grew this all through the whole winter and it started growing in the spring again, even in a container. So that's a 30-gallon grow pot that that's in. So just a couple ideas. Here's something else as we walk around. Onions. Here's green onions that I just sort of never harvested. Should have. Green onions are really good, like scallions I mean, to harvest and then just freeze whole. And then you cook with them anyway, so onions freeze really well. You just chop them up and use them. So I freeze it whole without chopping it up. That keeps it from getting freezer burnt. Individually vacuum seal them. And then when we go to use them, just take them out of the freezer, let them soften just enough to cut, slice them up, and then just use them as normal. You'd never know the difference because they cook, they get soft anyways. You wouldn't eat them raw that way. Here's our peppers. You see what the cold weather does to them. Bummer. These never ripened. You know, that's the thing about our area here. Sometimes a certain kind of peppers with a long season, you pick the early ones, the late ones, you hope they'll ripen, but it's hoping. Tomatillos, same thing, a lot of those didn't get ripe. They just sort of died on the vine. Look, that's sad. I should have harvested that one. It's like mush now, it's frozen. Here's cilantro. Look at that though. Look how healthy that is. I planted that in September in this 30-gallon pot. And it'll just go quite a ways. I bet that'll go until mid-December at least. Cilantro loves cold weather. But again, you have to have it established already. If you plant it now, it won't do anything. It won't germinate. This was planted a couple months ago. Didn't do anything till it got cold, and now it's going crazy. So just some thoughts on crops. You know, so your cooking greens, onions, cilantro, which is a really great cold weather crop. Carrots, as I showed you, and I made a video on, are great crops to grow in the cold and to harvest even in mid-November to late November, even into December many years. So thank you for watching, and we hope you join us again soon.